Hey everybody, Kevin here, and I'm back with a second video. That's right, we're doing a part 2 with mood. So, I hope you're excited. We're going to go through all of the Dipswitches, and we're going to see what we can figure out, see what's happening. So, buckle up, let's go. Now, like now, right now. Here we go. Here we go. All right, here we are. We got the mood right down here, all plugged in, ready to go. You guys already know everything about it, so let's look at the Dipswitches. Okay. If you watched the other video for the blooper on the Dipswitches, this is different. So you have a Dipswitch for every knob. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the only one you don't have a knob for is mix, and that's because that controls the ramping. But every other one, you have a Dipswitch for. Now, you see them twice because this side here is turning on the ramping. So if I move this time Dipswitch on, then that's enabling the ramping of that knob. Then if I switch one of these, I believe these are all enabling the expression usage. The only special Dipswitches other than the 5 knobs here. We have bounce, so that makes it modulation instead of ramping and holding. And then we have 2 for using the foot switches and turning them to momentary bypass. So instead of latching like a normal pedal, you can change it to momentary bypass, which is cool. And then you have one for the shape of the modulation, if it's triangle or square. And then you have trails on or off, which I also believe includes a buffer. And then sweep just changes the way that it ramps or modulates. So from the position of the knob all the way to 100% clockwise, or from the position to 0% or 100% counterclockwise. Top, bottom, I think you guys get it. So let's build a sound first that should hopefully be easy to tell what's happening, and then we will go from there to get started. Some of these will probably be a little rough to tell what exactly is going on, but we'll figure it out. All right, I'll try and get the best examples I can. So let's start. We have it in reverb mode. Let's change it to delay mode, and let's see what we get when everything is at noon. All right, let me just change everything to noon, and we're going to just start on this side. We have Telecaster here, and it's going through the Hypergravity Mini, which is right over here, in case you're curious. I'm going to give us a little bit more. Okay, so let's see what we got to start off with. Nice. Let's engage Dipswitches. I'm going to try and not get distracted here. We're going to take time. So right now, it should be taking the time knob. Yep, that's the right one. And taking it from here all the way to the bottom, because we have nothing else engaged. And that's it. So for this scenario and for every other scenario, I'm going to enable bounce so that we can actually hear what's happening. Still good up there. Okay. It's an interesting sound. Let's change how long it's taking. So the mix is our ramp. So I think this would be slowing it down. Okay, so I think I misspoke on the ramping there. What is really happening is it's the amount of time for the knob to go from noon to 0% in this case. So when we start with it back here, it's going to take no time at all. As we max it out, it's going to take as long as possible. There it goes. Interesting. Remember, this is adjusting the time. So if I disable this guy, we just look at what it normally sounds like. Faster. And slower. So by doing that, it's basically doing that. You get it. Let's move on to the next one. Next one is length. Actually, no. Length is on the other side. We're not going to go there yet. We're gonna do modify there. Let's maybe bring it up a bit. So what should be happening now let's bring it back up. What should be happening is this is a pretty long repeats level for a delay, at least for the mood, and it should be taking it from here all the way back down to 0 and then back. So with our ramping at about noon, we should be like getting a pretty good mix up of longer and shorter. You can hear it like sweeping it away. It might be a little tricky to hear, but we'll just keep pressing on. Some of these are going to be more subtle, some are not. Let's actually leave this and let's go over to slip. This should be a lot more interesting sounding. Let's try something like this. kind of fun. And what if we try reverb now? Now I'm going to set this a lot more forward because... So now what's happening is, and this is kind of an interesting concept. I'm not sure how much you will actually hear it, but you can try and listen for it. This knob in reverb mode is covering how much the actual delay notes are being smeared together to create a normal reverb sound, or how much they are more distinct. And since we're ramping to the bottom, the lowest position is the most distinct, the highest position is the most smeared together. So this is like a normal place I'll put it when I'm using the mood as a reverb, because it's a pretty nice balance of smeared together, but you get some texture to your reverb. So going from here all the way to 0, you should hear some repeats, and then you should hear it kind of sweep back together. I'm going to try and speed up, I don't know, or slow down, I mean, the ramping, so you can hear it a little bit more. You can hear it. Actually is a really nice use case, I think, for the Dipswitches is on the reverb, because it really helps bring some more life to the reverb. And I really like the reverb on the mood anyways, but this kind of helps take it up a notch, which is cool. Alright, let's keep moving. Let's move that guy up, and let's move over to... Actually, let me demonstrate momentary bypass. You can see now, I turned it on. This is something I actually didn't expect. Alright, it's off, and I turned on the momentary bypass, and it stays off, and then interesting. But if I do the opposite, it actually will stay, which I didn't know that before. So if I turn it on and then switch on momentary bypass, we still centered up there? Okay, looks like it. Super interesting. I didn't know you could like do a kind of a reverse momentary bypass there. And it's the same concept for this one, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Pretty cool. Alright, now that we knocked those out, let's go over these other ones. Length up here. So it's ramping the length. I'm just gonna put, I don't know why I changed that. I just did, okay? Don't worry about it. So it's ramping from here to the bottom. Let's make it a little faster. Hopefully you can hear how this is changing. As it sweeps down. of the loop or what was recorded. How much of that are we using? The whole thing, only a little bit. So in this case, with it being set here at about 3 o'clock, we're taking probably like 3/4 of the loop, and then as it sweeps down, it's shrinking that and then opening it back up. Let's switch over to tape and do something else. We should get some time like this, and then it should come back. So something to note about the ramping is, even if you adjust the speed, it usually does to be like shorter. It usually holds at the maximum and minimum position. So in this case, this would be wherever the knob is would be the maximum and the bottom would be the minimum. So it usually will hold at the minimum for a second and then sweep, hold at the max for a second, sweep. No matter how fast or slow you're going, it's just, it gets harder to perceive that the faster the modulation goes, but at least that's what I've kind of noticed of how the ramping works. Let's get rid of that and let's move on. Next would be modify. This is actually a great tape mode, should be great for this. Pretty interesting. Hearing it go from here all the way to the bottom and back. Now, here's a great place where I want to switch the polarity, or the sweep rather, because I want it to go to the top from where it is, because then it won't hit that weird placement. This is interesting. This is where it starts to get musical and more fun to play around with the Dipswitches. Really, you gotta just do it. Like, you gotta just mess with them. Think about how you could use them. Think about different ways that you could create a sound based on if you had a knob automatically moving, and then you just get creative with it. Let's do the next one. Let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Clock, last one. This is fun. So it's the clock affects everything. So it affects the reverb and it affects the whatchamacallit, the granular looping side. So we're gonna hear either the looping side or the wet side affected by this. So right now, just with the reverb, we'll hear it get affected because remember I switched the sweep, so we're going to the top now, and it's gonna go from wherever we're positioned, which we're positioned at noon, so it's got a pretty decent sweep to go over here. Let's slow this down a bit. That's cool. course, we could speed it up, make it weird. Super interesting. Let's do two other things. We only have two things left, shape and trails. Let's go to shape. So now it should be in a square shape. I think this could be cool. So that changed the shape. Square instead of triangle. Makes sense? It's going to be very abrupt and sharp. And then lastly, we have trails. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that modulation off. I'll leave bounce because it's not hurting anyone. And then let's turn on delay because that's a good example. Basically, it creates trails. There you have it. That's literally it. I think it does that on... Does it do that on Reverb? Let's find out. Yep. And slip? No. I might have not had it set to a good place. Let's do this. Shall we? Yep. Trails for everything. I don't know if it does on... Yeah, doesn't really do trails on the micro looping side or granular looping side, but that's just because it's like on-off. It's not really anything to trail on afterwards. That is the Dipswitches. Hope this was helpful to you guys, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of this video, and if there's anything you'd like to see in the future. Thanks again. Bye. Ooh.